Reality Talks with your host, Reverend Anim B.
Let's dream.
Come right on in. We got a spot for you.
Greetings and well-being, everyone. Welcome to Dream Reality Talks. You're here with your host, Reverend Anim B of Ankh Ministries. And for those of you that are just joining in for the first time, if you are new to the show, don't know who I am, I'll just give you a brief introduction. Again, I'm Reverend Anim B of Ankh Ministries. I am an ordained metaphysical minister, a Usuri Reiki master, Kemetic Reiki practitioner, intuitive medium, root worker, celestial arts teacher, and co-founder of several businesses. And I'll leave that to you to find out what businesses. You can go to ankhministries.org. But just to shorten this up, I am also a graphic / web designer as well as a musical artist. So that's me in a nutshell. There are many different levels and layers that I'm not adding in here. You know, some folks feel like that might be just a plug-in, whatever the lower vibration dictates. But actually, I just want to give you just a small glimpse as to who I am. I've hosted what was called at the time Hit Minds Radio. That's been well over 10 years ago. Hit Minds Radio has morphed into Planet 9 Radio. And I've been doing broadcasting off and on, I would say, for over 10 years plus. I was formerly a radio host for WNRN. Years ago, they had a section, the hip hop section of their broadcasts. It used to come on the weekends, the boombox. From my understanding, there's been changes, so that may not, that particular segment may not be active anymore. Not sure. But yeah, that's part of my background. Also did a little bit of joking around, actually, not really fully grounded and serious and rooted in podcasts. I didn't know I was going to come back around to having my own show. But I played around in college, Marshall University, just appearing here and there on a radio show that they hosted. The Thundering Herd, can't remember if that's the full station name or not, but it was fun while it lasted. Then me and a couple of friends just having fun. So that is part of my background in radio. I enjoy it simply because I can just be. I can just kind of pull from all parts of myself and just be. Like, if you come across the show's profile pic, that's my graphics. Just putting together the audio version, even though I don't typically, I won't even edit the show, or just some hosts may be very particular about how they come across audio wise to an audience, and that's great. Not taking anything from them. At some point I probably polish it up myself, but I just like the rawness of everyday life being implemented into a podcast, simply because we are who we are. I'm not always at a desk with a microphone, or if I am, like, my office is multi-use, so I have to kind of go with the flow of my feng shui here. So You might hear my little heater going in the background. You might hear my dog. You might hear my cat. I just shut the window because my neighbors wanted to they wanted to have a conversation outside before I started broadcasting, and they were pretty loud. So, but anyway, I just said, yeah, I won't add into my segment here someone's conversation simply because it's their conversation. I don't need to spy on that, right? So, I guess what we're going to do right now is just, I'm going to bring it down a notch because, yeah, it was just a lot of activity going on before I started out broadcasting. So what I want to do right now is just to take a few deep breaths. Yeah, you can meditate on that if you like, but the breath. Oh, I give thanks for the bloopers and the ability to laugh. You know, somewhere someone right now is sad or unable to feel joy in their heart. So I'm just going to call us into a space of just gratitude and joy, and being able to laugh at all of the flubs and the things that come along in the ebb and flow. Just give thanks for it. And as we give thanks, I send out good vibrations through the airways, into your ears, into your heart, into your mind's eye, as we start to dive deep into the reality of dreams and all that they instruct and guide us to do. I just give thanks. Yeah. Feeling that joy come back into our heart as we lift up our frequencies and vibrations. I'm now going to dive deep into a dream that I had on January 18th, 2021. Very interesting dream. Many different layers, many different ways that I saw this dream in particular. But for the sake of connecting it to our reality so that we can resonate with the awareness that our dreams provide, giving us the instructions to move forward or to maneuver in this matrix, is real. That's real. So I want to get into this dream to break the divide of dream world reality and dissolving the separation around the two. You know, they all stem from your highest conscious, from the metaverse, omniverse, universe, universal, however you want to term it. It all comes into your mind's eye, the receiver and projector of light for your awareness. So January 18th, I had this dream that I was living in a secured building. Now, buildings in your dreams can represent your physical body. It could represent the literal meaning, building. But in this case, as I was living in this secured building, it's just letting me know that protection, for one, is imminent. Feeling and living in a secure environment. So many different ways that you can expand on security and what that means. What it means to me may be something different to you. So that's why I say writing your dreams down, jotting as much as you can remember is very important. This is very important. Okay? But to elaborate on the dream further, I had a friend of mine that came to visit. She knocked on the door, I met her at the door, and we stood at the door for a while because she hesitated coming in. And after much contemplating back and forth, just, she's in her head about it, but yet I'm not bringing any type of awareness to her indecision. I'm just talking to her. She finally stepped in the door, as we continued our conversation. And from a window in my house, it felt like I was on possibly the second floor, but I don't recall floors ever being a question. So I'm not going to bring that into our awareness at this point, but it felt that way. As we were looking out the window, I was showing her my new vehicle, just telling her a little bit about it, giving her insights to my world and some things that had changed for me. As we talked about, all the things that were going on with me, I got a phone call. From another friend of mine asking me to pick her up in DC. And she had kind of like this almost frantic sound as she was talking, just stating that there was some activity around the inoculation. Now, we know what the inoculation here, so no need to spell it out. Okay? That we're not getting into that. But she was asking me to pick her up, and the friend it's like at the same time, the friend that came to visit left. She decided to leave, and once I hung up the phone from the one friend who had called me about picking her up in DC, the phone rang again, and there was the friend that just left asking me, could I drive her to DC? And I'm like, I just kind of paused in my dream, like, it was odd. Because for one, anyone that knows me knows that I don't like driving in high volume traffic. And going to DC is like committing suicide. So no, that was off the table. So I guess in my subconscious awareness of what my decision was going to be, I found that there was a glitch that happened. Glitch meaning that it jumped from one thing to the next. So before that glitch actually happened, there was a cameo appearance from my son's ex. And I was kind of just looking at her like it was unclear as to why she was in my astral realm or my consciousness at that time. So I just kind of paused with that one, and then the glitch actually went from one thing to the next. So, when someone appears in your dreams, it's not, like you're inviting them. They just happen. Usually, it's just either a remote viewer or someone to deliver a message, and it can be whatever it is going to be for you, but for me, that's usually what that signifies. Okay. So once that glitch happened, my friend that asked me to pick her up from DC suddenly appeared at my residence, along with a security guard. Now, security is ringing from the beginning of the dream to now here. Now we got a security guard that shows up, right? He shows up and asks me to go somewhere with him. And I didn't feel like I was under any threat or I had to question anything. So I went with him, and he kind of served like I forgot the actual ghost that came to visit Scrooge and took him on journeys and stuff. That's how the security guard appeared in my dream. And I said, okay, yeah, let's go. So he took me to a place where it was just full of people. Full of people. So just like traffic and crowded places, I'm not there. Okay? But where he took me, it was to a grocery store, and I just saw people around shopping, talking, or what have you. And I remember, oh, well, while I'm here, let me go ahead and get some shopping done, because I needed to pick up a few items. So, yeah. And as I'm doing my shopping, voila, there's another glitch that happened. You notice these glitches come up when either you've firm on your decision, you have decided something, and want to move on. Just like in this realm when we're tasked with looking at a problem and deciding left or right, up or down, whatever it is that you need to decide on, you do it. And once you do it, whatever led to that decision, most of that is forgotten, or at least forgotten by the next day or so. You can never recall the story as it happened. Some things might be added, some things might be left out, but it is what it is, right? So that glitch happened in the grocery store. Well, as I shopped and figured, hey, I'm cool now, my mind was like, let me move on. So once that happened, I appeared on the island talking to my grandmother. Or we were talking, sitting on these rocks, and this big wave came and hit us. But it took her under. Now, that could have denoted her timely departure, changes in events to come that will produce a mass change. Remember, I said multiple levels here. So me, I like to see them on all levels and how they resonate with this reality. The way you see may be differently from mine. Not a critique, nothing bad, it just is. So, once that wave took her under, I immediately began to look for her. And then it's like I heard this voice saying to me, move the waters, move the waters. Move the waters. What are they talking about? The hell do you do that? I've read about it. So, yeah. Next thing you know, I moved the waters. I parted the waters like there was an aisle in the water. Water to my right, water to my left, me in the middle, just parting the waters. And the being that sent me the message that told me to move the waters also showed me telepathically that the wave did not wash everyone ashore. So in my dream, as the water is parted, there's a remote island behind me where there's, just the sand, trees, rocks, what have you, that are there. And this telepathic being is showing me the wave and how it hit. Some people were washed ashore and some weren't. So I'm in the middle of the aisle and I'm being shown this vision. Okay? Follow me now? Once that water was parted, I began walking down that middle passage, searching for my grandmother. Like, where the hell did she go? And to no avail, I started to feel a panicking feeling in my system, just a bit of worry. Like, where did she go? And that voice that I heard way back when actually materialized in front of me as a person. And I can't remember all of the details, features, or anything, but what I do remember is that they were on the same mission as I was. That mission was not given in full detail, but they were there, basically mirroring my experience. So as I'm still searching for my grandmother and they're on their mission, I heard them say, like they're yelling down the aisle, call for help, call for backup. Call for help and backup. In the world. So when they said that, because when we think of someone saying call, you think of a phone. Pictorially, that's what comes to mind. Some sort of device that will allow you to speak to another. For anyone younger than the age of 30, maybe, the first thing that come up in your mind is your cell phone, because you may not even know what a landline looks like, or a payphone. So my visual was the phone that actually came up as a payphone. Now that I think about it, I called for help, and then I heard that same being also say it was a military setup. We were actually in the middle of a military setup, and in full disclosure, they stated that the splash and parting of the waters were being caused by the military, who were conducting a test by dropping cylinders into the water. Now, I don't know if they drop cylinders here in on this realm. I won't even say real life, but on this realm. whatever they were dropping into the water was causing, the disturbance, so to speak. And that it made me pretty upset, but it didn't stop me from looking for my grandmother, trying to find where she was. Okay? Which dawned on me that she was taken. Not by choice, not by natural disasters, but she was taken. And at that point, once I realized that, I started to walk towards land. And I looked back over the waters, and somehow I witnessed below the waters. Let me back up. I walked towards the land, and as I was on land, I looked back over the waters. I don't know if that was clear, but I looked back over the waters, and I was shown these huts residing under the water. And these huts resembled the huts that the Dogon tribe lived. Now, if you don't know what that is, you put in a search for Dogon tribe or Dogon people. From the huts, people appeared, like they started to come out. So they're not taken, and they didn't look like they were being harmed, but they were protected by this water that the military was dropping cylinders into. Yeah. So as they came out and appeared to me, I was telling them about what was going on. And as I was telling them, I started to wake up from a dream. And you know how you're in between that waking state once again, because I said that on another podcast. You're almost awake, but you're still kind of sleep too. You're kind of in that gray zone where you're just, yeah. Which pull is the greatest? To get up or to go back to sleep? You're trying to make a decision there. So as you make that decision, most of you experience the glitch. Glitch meaning the cutoff time where if you don't capture your dream right then and there, once you fully decide to wake up, the glitch happens where you forget about the dream. We witness the glitch happens also in the astral world. As I stated, throughout my dream, there were glitches happening once I made a decision. So if you make a decision to fully wake up, be prepared for the glitch. So in that gray area is where I decided to write a word that I was given as I was coming out of the dream state. And it was called cybernol. And I wasn't aware of the word, so I looked it up. Nothing. Or at least I don't recall finding anything reflecting that word as a whole. So what I did was to separate the word. Cyber. When we're talking about cyber, we're talking about computers. We're talking about technology, digital technology. We're talking about virtual reality or virtual world. So that, I was like, okay, so let me break down the word null, N-O-L. But before I get to that, I just want to reiterate that this dream in particular has many different levels to it. And I'm not going to get into all of the levels, but I do want to make a point drawing the contrast between what the dream was telling me and this reality. Now, we know security was being called into realization from the very beginning, right? Security. I'm secure. I'm protected. And as I'm secure and protected, then we're going to talk about how that unfolds on this realm. Then I had a friend, that hesitated to come into my residence, So, as I said, I question, if you're going to come to someone's home or show up at their home, why have reservations about anything? If you know that reservation would potentially put a barrier between you and the person that you decide to visit, why show up, right? Okay. And then I had the friend who wanted me to pick her up from DC. Then the one that had the reservations on coming in left, and then wanted me to take her to DC, calling, knowing they both had vehicles. Why do I have to do this? Then we had the cameo appearance from my son's ex back to the security guard showing up. What does all of that mean? It's just like, what the hell? What does all of that mean? Grandmother coming, talking to me, disappear, being asked to part waters, military setup. Yeah, well, getting back to cybernol, as we talked about cyber, being connected to computers, information, or information that is transferred through the technology of computers. Virtual reality, basically. This is just, our computers are just, I will say, the prototype to the actual development of what virtual reality is. Virtual reality, we've been doing that all the time, stepping into the dream world. So now on this plane, we may see more conversations talking about virtual reality and merging it with reality on the physical level. Still in your body type of thing, although you are exploring with the mind. Okay. Cybernol. Null. When I looked up the etymology of that, it referenced the top of the head. N-O-L-L versus N-O-L. In Middle English, N-O-L-L, null, is translated into N-O-L, null. So that gives me my suffix of the word cyber, null. And NOL references the seat of intelligence. And when I went down further to look at the Old English and the Old High German spelling, which was HNOL, it cognates with the Middle English spelling of NOL as N-O-L-L-E, noli, null as noli. or Nolly, however you want to pronounce it, which defines the back of the head. Top of the head, back of the head, all relating to the head. Cyber, intelligence. That's where we put all our information in cyber space. Am I correct? Putting all of our everything into the virtual matrix. You have virtual reality, and then you have the virtual matrix. And what's being created on this realm is the virtual matrix, mimicking virtual reality. Okay, so in the back of the head, all related to the head, but in particular, the very top center is where I get, and the back of the head is where the pineal gland, the central intelligent unit, resides. Interesting. So the point of this dream was to alert me to remotely view a situation from a detached level of awareness. Water represents the emotions. And as I chose to do that and write about it, I actually went to search military exercises conducted in 2021. I didn't put January, I didn't put any of the narrow time frames in there. I just put a general search of 2021. And in January, there were a lot of military exercises conducted at sea. A lot of activity that went on around maritime law during that time as well. At that time, there was growing tensions between certain countries that caused them to seek allies. And just as allies appeared in my dreams as friend, grandmother, the other being on the mission, these allies appeared, all letting me know security was the goal. Now, the tension that was going on between the countries at the time, they were fighting. You know, I think this was the time where tariffs, in law, they talked about tariffs. I think it was Trump talking about, China can't be here. You got to pay this X amount if you want to park on this part of the waters because I own it, and all kinds of just mayhem. It reminds me of that game children used to play called Sink My Battleship, something like that. If anybody know the correct name for that game, please email me. Who sunk my battleship? Like, humanity is in the midst of individuals that see land and property as a monopoly game. They don't see people. They don't see the lives that they take. They don't see the devastation that is caused in our oceans, because they see commodity, ownership. Okay? So as that was being conducted at that time, I don't know if cybernol will ever be an actual word, but it led me to the awareness of what was going on with the earth. at that time. You know, when we think of grandmothers, we think of the woman of all women, the queen. You know? So when we're having tests of that nature going on where it can be felt on the physical level and seen in an abstract way, it's not cool. Because what happens here on the earth, we do feel it. We do suffer the repercussions of it. You know? So I'm saying this to say to the audience that these individual, I call them entities, because they are definitely separated from being human, or acquiring, I don't even want to say human, but acquiring the ability to be fully connected to nature. The only time they really feel it is when danger is presented to them. And then you have some that don't even feel it then. They just decide to rock out on a hard knock life type of thing. I know I'm talking a little out there for some folks that are just joining in and they're not familiar with all things spiritual, all things metaphysics, all things occult, life. You know, it can be scary to the point that you want to judge it. You want to make fun of it. You want to pull out inconsistencies. You want to do what you want to do just to say that's not so. Truth is, you know it has some truth or validation for you somewhere, or else you wouldn't work so hard to go against. You know? So what I say to you is just to allow yourself to hear what's going down. Allow yourself to wake up in the morning and pause and just feel the difference in the air. Allow yourself to be alone long enough to write your thoughts out. To tap into what you're actually feeling. Is my heart beating fast? Is it beating slow? Do I feel like I can breathe? Do I feel like I can stand up straight? All of this stuff that happens to our earth, our world, we feel it. We feel it. We know something going on. We might not be aware of every idle thing, but your dreams bring that reality to you. Allow it to talk to you. Allow it to talk to you. Oh boy, I think I've gone longer than I usually go. Yeah, I just seem like I've been on a tangent about that one particular dream. But what I would like to do is invite you to share your feedback. Share your feedback about how you feel about any dreams that I've spoke on thus far that triggered or sparked a memory in you and you want to talk about it. Write me. Talk to me. Get your thoughts out. If you want them to be heard and want to be a guest on Dream Reality Talks, Planet 9 Radio, yeah, you can go to ankhministries.org and shoot me a message, or you can hit me up at planet9radio@outlook.com. The choice is yours. The choice is yours. But what I will say is, don't sit there holding what you know to be true for you in. Don't hold that in, and don't hold judgment and not speak on it. So even if you have some reservations about the validity of what I shared or what has come up for you, bring it to the table. I invite you. There's nothing to fear but yourself. So, with that being said, I want to give thanks for all your listening ears, your heartfelt intention and vibration here. It has been received. Thank you. Thank you for the love. I really love doing this, and I can't wait until the next time. I know I get off on my tangent about what's going down, and I have this voice that goes in and out, and you know, she might stumble, she might not stumble, I don't know. Point is, I love it. I love it here, and I want you to love it here too, because this is your dream. Let it talk to you. So I'll join you the next time on Dream Reality Talk. Till then, I say ashe, aho, and so it is.
This been that one day. I don't give. I wanna sway to the left or right. Who